Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about 3 tools that I'm going to buy probably very shortly within the next month or 2. 3 tools that I really hope to buy, hopefully this year. If not, then definitely next year. And 3 tools that I wish I could buy, but right now small business budget does not allow me to do so. But hopefully within the next few years, I would say. For those who don't know me, I am one of those people that I would call accessory people. Anytime you get into a hobby or anything, you start buying all the accessories for it. This happens with filmmakers and photographers. You know, you buy all the camera equipment, all the gear, and you have a really fun time doing it. Well, I've done that. And I'm also a jewelry maker. So I am buying tons and tons of tools. And I absolutely love acquiring new tools and trying different ways to make my workflow more efficient and being able to add different techniques and skill sets to my work. So I am pretty convinced that anybody who is a craftsman or has a hobby, you probably have an obsession with acquiring new tools and accessories and things. And there is a good reason for that. Acquiring a lot of these new tools will actually make your life so much easier. Most of them do. If they don't, sell them. But it will make your life a lot easier, make your workflow faster, and just make you more efficient. Now, all of these tools I am pulling off of Pepe Tools. And this is a brand that I have shopped with a lot. I do get a lot of different equipment from them. I am not sponsored by them. I just really love their tools and the quality that you get from them. And their products are catered so well toward jewelry makers. They are literally meant to solve the problems that we face every day. The first 3 tools I am going to talk about are things that are very reasonable, and I think they're going to be very useful. One of the things I've had my eye on is a center finder jig. This is something that would make my life a lot easier when it comes to finding the center point and kind of lining things up, especially a ring shank and a bezel. So currently right now I just use a ruler and I try to line things up as best as possible. But if you know, metal, especially if it's textured or bent or anything, is a lot harder to find the center of and line things up properly. What a center finder jig does is it's a clear piece of plastic that has a grid on it and these little raised bits that are adjustable, so you can actually put your piece right up against it, and there's a hole in the center where you can find the exact center of pretty much almost anything, and it'll let you mark through it, mark your silver or whatever you're making with a pen, pencil, anything, so that you are lined up perfectly. This is something that would just really make my workflow so much easier. This definitely something I'm buying probably within the next month or 2. The next tool that I'm going to get is something called molded clay. So I have been working towards learning a little bit more of the fine jewelry making. So especially with rings, I do want to be able to make those like fancier, I want to say almost engagement style, but I really am going towards more of a fantasy type aesthetic with it. Prong settings are very difficult to learn, at least in my experience so far that I'm finding. So I did get a prong setting tool that kind of lets me solder the prong settings together a lot easier, because without anything it's almost impossible. At least I have not found a good way to do it. Now this tool has made it a lot easier, but then I run into the problem where when I'm trying to put like a little band on the inside that would hold the bottom point of a stone, I tend to melt the prongs together. It's a very delicate task. So what I'm thinking is if I get the molded clay, where I can set my prongs into the clay and all the elements that I want on that specific setting, and then I can kind of have more freedom with the sizes, because this tool that I bought, you can only do so many sizes and so many prongs. But basically I would have the ability to set everything into clay and then solder it. I can probably use this clay for a lot more than just prong settings. I do have a few ideas, especially when I get into those complex pieces that I need to have certain elements held in certain spots so that I can kind of solder everything together to make like the scenes and things that I'm making. Probably be super beneficial. So I'm definitely getting that soon. Now, the last thing I plan to acquire is something that isn't so much of a need as really a want, but at the same time, it is still going to make my life easier, make my workflow a little bit better. And that is a new soft frame. Currently, I have this soft frame, which is an Amazon knockoff of the Green Lion. I didn't realize it was a knockoff when I bought it. And I bought this a very long time ago now. But it is comfortable. It is good. I do like it. It has worked very well for me, and I've made a lot of things with it. But I have been looking at a new soft frame, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with the Haymaker from Pepe Tools. Now, there's several reasons for it. 1, I've heard a ton of good reviews about it from different jewelers. 2, the handle looks like it's a lot more ergonomic than this one. It looks like it has a more cylindrical aspect to it, which I think would be a little bit more comfortable. And number 3 is that the frame itself is larger. When I do a lot of sawing, I tend to do it out of this size silver. So this is a 6x6 inch square, And as you can see, it does not kind of go through all the way. When I am sawing like into certain elements, it gets a little bit hard to maneuver the saw frame, whereas the haymaker has a much larger frame, so I think that'll make it a little bit easier to maneuver. And I've heard just the balance of it as you're sawing is also really, really good. So definitely something I'm investing in. And on another note, the saw frame that I'm going to get specifically is going to be this orange and black one, which has those like cozy fall vibes. I absolutely love the color. My favorite color combination is black and copper. So this is perfect for me. I'm definitely buying this. Now, the next 3 tools I'm going to talk about are things that I really hope I can buy this year, and I definitely think I'm going to buy one of them for sure. This is kind of going to depend on the holiday sales this year. I'm going to say if my shop does decently, I'm going to definitely invest in one of them. If my shop does fantastic and I have a stellar holiday season, I'm probably going to invest in 2, if not all 3 of them. Now, the first thing is a Bench Basics bench lathe. I've been looking at this for quite a while. I definitely feel like this would increase my workflow, just something a little bit easier and faster when it comes to polishing. You have a larger wheel, and I feel like I can just do a little bit of a more efficient setup with it. There's a lot of applications I can use a bench lathe for, and definitely something I think I'm going to buy. The only drawback with this is figuring out what to do with the dust that it kicks up. So I would need to either make some kind of enclosed box, because buying it would be a lot. They have different dust collection boxes, but they're very expensive. So I would probably have to make some sort of like box where the dust would not be all over my workshop, because you really do not want to be breathing in polishing compound. Now, the next thing is a little bit more expensive, but this is what I am almost definitely going to buy this year if I have a decent holiday season. I want to get the Super Mini Magnetic Jewelry Tumbler. That's a long name, and I did not know this existed until just a few months ago. And seeing how easily this polishes and gets into the crevices and the insides of all the pieces that people have thrown in it is amazing. I spend a lot of time polishing stuff right now because I want to do a good job and give it a good finish. I spend hours sometimes just polishing, especially when I make a full collection, just to polish the pieces. And as a small business owner, you know, if you are the only one running your business and you don't really have anybody else helping you make or create or do some of these other tasks, every little bit of time matters a lot. So this is something that, while it's on the pricier side, I really want to get it this year because it would save me hours of time. Being able to just throw my pieces into something to do the majority of the polishing instead of spending hours doing all of it myself would make it so much easier. It would cut my time down on polishing. I would have to do some of the initial polishing to get rid of the bigger scratches, and then just do maybe a little bit of finishing if it's not to the point that I want it to be. And it would also give me a higher quality polish. The way this machine works is that it has these little tiny pins that basically get into everything, into every little crevice, and especially my electroform stuff, which I have a lot of detail in that since that's sculpted, but then it is kind of hard to polish it later because when I'm going through and trying to kind of bring that copper shine back out and then patina it and then bring more of the shine back out, it's very difficult to polish sometimes. This is definitely something I really want to buy. Now, the last thing I want to buy is something that I think I'll only be able to get if I have an absolutely stellar holiday season. Now, this is because I will not just buy the main tool, but I also want to buy all of the accessories that come with it, because I'm just that person that if I buy something, it's go big or go home, and I am going to get all the things that come with it just to make my life easier and totally change my workflow. So right now, my tool of choice is the Works rotary tool. This thing is fantastic. It is small, it is lightweight, it's very easy to use and maneuver. It's very easy to change stuff because it has this locking mechanism, but I do want to really get a true Fordham pendant motor. Pendant motors are so much stronger, they're more powerful, they will be able to do a little bit more, and there's a lot of different accessories that will let you do all kinds of things with it that you can't with just a basic rotary tool. That's the reason a lot of people who use Dremels pretty quickly go to the Fordham. Now, there's a couple different pendant motors. You can get a Fordham brand, which is the one that a lot of jewelers use, or you can get some different brands. You can find a couple on Amazon. I know Vevor is a very popular one, and I was going back and forth between the Vevor and the Fordham for a while, but I decided that I'm just going to go with the Fordham. I'm going to go with what I think is going to be the best long-term investment for my business. Now, the reason I won't just buy the pendant motor and then slowly buy stuff on is because I know even if I just order the pendant motor, within a week or two, I'll be ordering the rest of the accessories. So my plan is to just buy everything at once. So that would include the Fordham pendant motor, the quick change handpiece, most likely. I'm on the fence with that one. The hammer handpiece, for sure. This would make stone setting a lot easier. The foot pedal, the motor mount, and there's a few accessory type things that actually mount onto your motor mount that kind of make it a little bit easier to work. It just makes your setup more efficient, and you have more things like right there in front of you, which I found that having an efficient setup is super important because it just makes it so much easier to work. So yeah, so if I have a stellar holiday season, I'm definitely investing in a Fordham. I don't know specifically which one I want yet. I do have to do some research into that because there's a lot of different options and there's a lot of different accessories for them. So I will definitely make a YouTube video on it if I do buy one this year. Now, the last 3 tools I'm going to talk about are things that right this second, I have no hope of buying them financially and because I just don't have the space for them. These are all things that are going to change the direction and future of my business and will absolutely change how I work and what I can do too. And it's going to be a huge skill set increase and a huge learning curve as well. The first thing is the Tilt Pro Electro Melt Furnace. Currently, I've been looking at this one, but obviously I'm going to be open to whatever is best at the time when I do actually make the purchase. But I am looking to get a furnace eventually. This is the direction that as a silversmith, I'll need to go eventually because I do want to get into several different things. One of those is casting. Also, I currently collect all of my silver scrap. I have everything. I have all the dust. I have all the little pieces and nubs and things that I cut off, and I try to reuse as much of it as I can whenever I need like little tiny elements or need to make little silver balls. I will reuse a lot of it. I have a lot. So I do eventually want to be able to recycle all that silver. Instead of constantly just buying fresh sheets of silver, I would like to be able to make something out of recycled silver or melt it down into casting grain eventually too. Now, the second thing kind of does go along with the first thing is a good quality rolling mill. I would like to buy either a Pepe Tools or a Durston brand. Both of them are fantastic, long-lasting quality rolling mills. I was considering a Vivor one, which is a lot cheaper. You know, they're between $100 to $300, so definitely a lot cheaper than anything you can get from the actual jewelry brands. But I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. Some people love them, they last for some people, and other people absolutely hate them. They have a lot of issues, and they switch to a good quality one and all those issues go away. It's definitely something that I think I'm just going to invest in the good quality right off the bat. Now, the main reason I want to get a rolling mill is mostly for the recycling aspect of silver, is to be able to take all my scraps and be able to recycle that back into either silver wire or silver sheet. But I also kind of want to experiment with texturing silver eventually and be able to kind of buy, say, 1 gauge of silver and then flatten it down to a gauge that I want rather than having to buy multiple gauges, which just gets very expensive. So that would also be something I would use it for. Now, the last thing I hope to get is called a kayak cast, and that is specifically to be able to do lost wax casting, and I really want to eventually learn to do that. For the longest time, I thought I would never want to do lost wax casting, and I've been watching a lot of YouTubers. There's some really awesome YouTubers that actually make it seem not easier, but so much more fun, and that it's actually accessible, honestly, because a lot of times it seems like it is behind this huge financial barrier, but in reality, it isn't. It is still a huge cost, but it's a lot more reasonable than I thought it was. One of those YouTubers is My Terra Maid, and she makes some fantastic videos about lost wax casting and jewelry making and everything. And with lost wax casting, the goal is that I can make some really complex pieces, spend a lot more time on one piece, but then actually get a lot more out of that. So I can make a mold of that piece and be able to sell it over and over without having to sink 100 hours into making that. I might sink, 50 to 100 hours into making the original wax model and then be able to model it and be able to make it over and over and over again. Something like that is a much more sustainable business model than what I currently do now. So what I currently do now is each and every single piece and everything that I make is made by hand. If it's something similar, I have to make that same thing over and over and over again. So as a one-person business, that kind of gets a little bit more unsustainable. It's a lot harder to keep up. You're more prone to burnout, and there's only so much you can physically make yourself and do. Now, when it comes to lost wax casting, you can actually increase your output by a lot, and it makes it much more viable to have a business that you can make a true living from it. Because right now, my business does very, very well, and I don't have to sink any money into it. It actually supports and runs itself. Those three things are dream tools that I want to get, but they will lead to so much more opportunity and so much more that I can do with my business. Scaling up my business to replace my full-time income from my career is definitely a bit difficult, but eventually I am going to get there, and this is just one of those ways I hope to do that. So let me know which of these tools you're looking to buy, or do you have any of them? What are your experiences with it? Did it help your workflow? Did it slow you down? Are these things useful for you, or were they a waste of money? Everybody's experience is a little bit different, and I absolutely love hearing about yours in the comments. You guys have given me a lot of good advice, and I've learned a few things. Don't forget to hit that like button, click the subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I'll see you at the next one, which will hopefully be a lot more Halloween-y.